Okay, good morning, Professor Usman, and good morning, everyone. Today, Dea Gresia, Muhammad Al-Haqiqi, and I, Sylpia Veronica Situmorang from Metabolism class, want to present our discussion about the topic, why do we crave sweets when we are stressed? Our presentation is divided into several parts. The first part is the effects of chronic stress on the human brain. The second is relation of cortisol hormone and stress, and the last is relationship between the brain and carbohydrates. Now we move to the first part, the effects of chronic stress on the human brain. The brain is protected from circulating molecules by a blood-brain barrier. Under repeated stress, this barrier becomes leaky and circulating inflammatory proteins can get into the brain. The brain's hippocampus, you can see from the picture on the slide, is a critical brain region for learning and memory and is particularly vulnerable to such insults. The reduced hippocampus that a persistent exposure to stress hormones and ongoing inflammation can cause is more commonly seen in depressed patients than in healthy people. There is also evidence of chronic stress effects on hormones in the brain, including cortisol and corticotropin releasing factor, or CRF. High prolonged levels of cortisol have been associated with mood disorders as well as shrinkage of the hippocampus. It can also cause many physical problems. Chronic stress ultimately also changes the chemicals in the brain which modulate cognition and mood, including serotonin. Serotonin is important for mood regulation and well-being. In fact, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRI, are used to restore the functional activity of serotonin in the brain in people with depression. Stress can also interfere with our balance between rational thinking and emotions. This is because stress may force the brain to switch to a habit system. Under stress, brain areas such as the putamen, around structure at the base of the forebrain, the red one from the picture on the slide, show greater activation. Such activation has been associated with hoarding behavior. In addition, in stressful situations, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, which plays a role in emotional cognition, such as evaluation of social affiliation and learning about fear, may enhance irrational fears. Eventually, these fears essentially override the brain's usual ability for cold rational decision making.
We've all felt that sort of energy as we confront something threatening or startling. A barely avoided car accident, for example, a call that our friend has been hurt, or even the pressure to meet a deadline. As our body perceives stress, our adrenal glands make and release the hormone cortisol into our bloodstream. Even often called the stress hormone, cortisol causes an increase in our heart rate and blood pressure. It's our natural flight or fight response that has kept humans alive for thousands of years. Normal levels of cortisol also are released when we wake up in the morning or exercise. These levels can help regulate our blood pressure and blood sugar levels and even strengthen our heart muscles. In a small dose, the hormone can heighten memory, increase our immune system, and lower sensitivity to pain. The danger of a fast-paced culture, however, is that many of us are constantly in high stress mode. If our body experiences chronic stress, we may begin to feel unpleasant and even dangerous effects such as fatigue, irritability, headache, and etc. Next. When the adrenal glands release the cortisol into our bloodstream, the hormone triggers a flood of glucose that supplies an immediate energy source to our large muscles. It also inhibits insulin production, so the glucose won't be stored but will be available for immediate use. Cortisol narrows the arteries, while another hormone, epinephrine, increases our heart rate. Working together, they force our blood to pump harder and faster as we confront and resolve the immediate threat. If we entire life is high stress and always in high gear, our body may constantly pump out cortisol.
Yeah. Also, our brain accounts for just 2% of our body weight. The organ consumes half of our daily carbohydrate requirements, and glucose is its most important fuel. Under acute stress, the brain requires some 12% more energy, leading many to reach for sugary snacks. Carbohydrate provide the body with the quickest source of energy. In fact, in cognitive test subjects who were stressed performed poorly prior to eating. Their performance, however, went back to normal after consuming food. When we are hungry, a whole network of brain regions activates. At the center are the ventromedial hypothalamus and the lateral hypothalamus. These two regions in the upper brain stems are involved in regulation, metabolism, feeding behavior, and digestive function. There is, however, an upstream gatekeeper, the nucleus arcuatus, in the hypothalamus. If it registers that the brain is lacks glucose, this gatekeeper blocks information from the rest of the body. That's why we resort to carbohydrate as soon as the brain indicates a need for energy, even if the rest of the body is well supplied. Next. Yeah. To better understand the relationship between the brain and carbohydrate, we create an example case where a school exam will soon be held. Before an exam, first of all, a student will study to understand the lesson he has learned in class. Most of the students in the learning process they feel stressed because of the many subject matter they have to understand and also the excitement that accumulate before the exam. And not a few students feel that the exam is fun because they feel challenged. Students will feel overwhelmed with exam experience stress and their cortisol level rise. Increased stress release a lot of energy due to the large amount of energy needed in the body. Students need to eat food to regain their energy. Usually, when a person is stressed, he will consume more carbohydrate, such as sweet food, rather than high protein snacks because it increases a good mood. Some studies have also shown that sugary food like chocolate lead to increase energy levels and better mood. But did you know that eating chocolate causes additional feelings of happiness but also feeling of guilt? That's because eating too many sugar food can increase the risk of diabetes, stroke, obesity, and the others. Next, in order to meet the increased needs of the brain, one can either eat more of everything or make it easy for the body and just consume sweet food. For some people, the brain cannot get its energy from the body's resources if even if there are enough fat deposits. The most important cause of this is chronic stress. To ensure their brain are not under supply, the people must always eat enough. Emotional stats, positive and negative, determine sweets craving, which prove that sweets can improve negative moods and evoke or sustain positive moods. Sadness, stress, and boredom have larger potential to evoke a sweet for craving. Yeah, the conclusion we can give are as follow. The first, chronic stress can affect some part of the brain, such as hippocampus, putamen, and ventromedial prefrontal cortex. The second, if your entire life is high stress and always in high gear, your body may constantly pump out cortisol. And the third, Stress has larger potential to evoke sweet food craving. There are the reference journal that we use in completing our presentation materials. Next. Thank you so much for listening our presentation. We apologize if there are mistakes that we made in the presentation. Thank you and goodbye.